Okay, so I don't mean to sound redundant again, but I'm just going to go over this stuff and videotape it in case anybody needs to check it out on the site again later on. Okay, so we have our reference image, and it is gridded in 1.1 squares, and we've labeled it with letters on the top, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, just starting from the very first space and working right across to the last space. And then whatever you end up here is what you end up with. I ended up with a K and an L around my center line here. I made sure to replicate those letters at the bottom going from A to B, and I noticed K and L is in the same spot around the center line, which is a good thing because that means my spacing at the top and the bottom is the same. And then on the vertical side, I numbered it. So again, starting from the very top box, the same one you had A in, that was number 1, and you just count downwards into the very last box. You should get about 28 spaces. And here I had 14 and 15 hugging my center line. I did the same thing with the other length side, and then same thing. I ended up getting 14 and 15 in the right spot, so that means my spacing on both sides is correct. I did the same grid following the exact same steps, finding my center points, right, and then dividing them into spaces, except this time I did 1.5 centimeter spaces rather than 1 centimeter spaces. Okay, that way when we redraw it onto this grid, the grid is exactly the same except it's blown up to 1.5 times the size. So our figure will as well when we transfer them. Okay, so now that my grid is completely done, I'm going to go ahead and label my large grid. The first thing you want to do is kind of line up the center point of this with your new paper. And the first thing you want to transfer are the letters and the numbers that are on both sides of your center lines. So I have a K and an L here, meaning on my good copy I will put a K and an L there, and then I can just label the rest according to what I see here. So K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, and then behind the K here, I'll label the same letters that I see. J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Okay, some of you might have a few empty spaces on the good copy now because there's more length to this than your rough reference image. That's okay, just leave them empty. The important part is that these are correct and then they flow outwards. Okay, so let's do the same thing on this side. So lengthwise I have 14 and 15 here, so I want to transfer that 14 and 15 to both sides of my colored line on my good copy, and then I'll just fill in the rest of the numbers as I see them. So here we'll count backwards: 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And don't worry about the empty spaces here because that doesn't matter. What matters again is that our center points are correct. And then 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. And you'll be left with a few extras at the bottom too. Someone asked me, do I just continue with the numbers? Should I do 29, 30, 31, 32? There's no point to that because you're only worried about having these numbers help you locate where to draw something that you see on here. And this image technically ends in 28D. So 28D here is going to be here. There's nothing going to be here to draw anyway, so that it's pointless adding additional numbers here when you don't have them on your original image, okay? So whatever empty spaces you end up with, I would just leave them empty. They're unnecessary, okay? So again, as we label the numbers on the top, same idea on the bottom. I've already done these ahead of time, starting with my K and L, and then I popped in the rest of them to match this, okay? Make sure that these are the same, and then same on the other side here. I found my center line on this side. I put in the 14, 15, and then you're gonna continue your numbers outwards, okay? So like the ref, the good copy should have everything mapped out on all sides. And before you start drawing, just do one last check that you have KL here, KL here, KL here, KL on the bottom, and then whatever numbers you have here, like 14, 15, are the same as the ones on your reference. Okay, and then you can begin drawing.